The Persilade family, known for their mad experiments and reputation as the greatest alchemists, are depicted surrounded by intimidating members. Their symbol, scarlet glowing in the background, reinforces their mythical status. The alchemists, in their quest to learn the laws of the universe and to surpass human limits, led the world into horrific biochemical disasters. Their experiments have left their mark on this continent forever. One of the results of the experiments, a huge dragon spewing a poisonous green substance, destroys the city. People flee in panic, gripped by fear and terror. Another monster, created from genetic experiments, bursts out of the labs. Its rage and destructive power are evident in every movement. A huge insect with mutant features attacks a man who is unable to resist. His face is contorted with horror, and his eyes reflect the madness of what is happening. But the family's history changed 300 years ago when they suddenly lost their greatness. Their flag, a symbol of former glory, is now just a shadow of the past. Iso Persilade, a descendant of the family, claims genius and vows to regain his former glory. He sees a biological weapon as a chance to prove his power. His ambitious plan will be completed in 400 days when a development called Ultimate Calamity is ready. The lab glows green, adding to the gloom of his intentions. Iso orders his assistant, a biologically modified rat named Cheese, to begin the final phase of the experiment. He demands to monitor the purity of the solution, not allowing the parameters to drop below 70%. Splinter's Cheese takes umbrage, demanding respect and reminding him that his name is not Dirty Rat. Despite his unusual nature, he is full of dignity. The parameters of the object in the incubation tank are stable. The purity of the solution is 99%. The body temperature is 25 degrees, and the heart beats 15 times a minute. Everything's going according to plan. Cheese injects 52 grams of black sulfur to remove impurities and bacteria. The purity of the solution has dropped to 91%, but the values remain normal. Next, 160 grams of white mercury is added to stabilize the subject's personality. The nitrogen purity drops to 85%, but the system functions without abnormalities. 366 grams of yellow salt solution is injected to create the object's soul. The purity is reduced to 72%, but the vital parameters are still fine. Iso prepares for the final stage by ordering the nitrogen solution to be drained and depressurized, all leading up to the opening of the incubation tank. Cheese activates the mechanism, opening the safety valve of the incubation tank. The final stage has begun. The tank opens, shrouded in steam, and the Perseades symbol glistens in the center. Tension builds. Iso triumphantly declares that his work, dubbed the Ultimate Calamity, is complete. This biochemical creature could destroy the entire world. The diagram shows a creature with an intimidating outline, ready to be activated. The sight of it is awe-inspiring and terrifying. Iso gleefully commands his creature to use his power to conquer the world. A slender leg emerges from the incubation tank, causing the first surprise. The subject's body turns out to be female, with emphasized forms, which raises even more questions. A tall girl with long blonde hair appears before Iso, as if she has descended from heaven. He cries out in horror, "What? What the hell is that?" His expectations have clearly not been met. Despite Cheese's warning about the safety violation, Iso decides to move closer to figure it out. The girl still hasn't woken up, which causes him even more confusion. Iso ponders in his mind whether the female body is merely a mimicry of the Ultimate Calamity. He speculates that the prominent shapes might be energy capsules and decides to check it out. After touching these twins, Iso comes to a shocking conclusion. The subject is an ordinary human being. His frustration reaches a peak. Esau desperately searches for the left hand of the angel of perdition that he transplanted to the object, but it's not there. His gaze falls on the girl's face, and he notices that the eyes of the seal of the Emerald Queen are also missing. Iso begins to question why the perpetual motion machine with the never running out of heart modification isn't making any noise. Cheese tries to warn Iso of the danger by yelling, "Hey, watch out!" Iso notices something strange and turns around, but finds himself hit by an object. Cheese, almost crying, says he's going to inherit the Persilade family, and in his head he's already writing a humiliating epitaph for Iso, saying he wasn't killed by some heroes but by his own experiment, especially since the guy died a virgin. The young man threatens Cheese that he will plant scavenger beetle eggs in his cheese warehouse, to which he replies in horror that this is too cruel. A broken vial of mutated fire snail blood can be seen on the floor, clearly related to what happened. Iso, lying next to the girl, claims that his soul is compatible with the object, and he couldn't die from her blow. Cheese, scratching the back of his head, replies suspiciously that he doesn't remember Iso's order to add liquid soul extract. A young man in a gas mask sternly inspects the laboratory and, noticing his assistant's actions, abruptly orders him to stop drinking the yellow salt solution. He adds that the proportions are slightly wrong and demands that he carefully introduce the compound into the main solution, warning him not to spill anything. The assistant rat, hearing the harsh words, nervously agrees, quickly excusing himself and assuring that he understood everything. The rat's curiosity gets the better of him, and he begins to examine the unknown vial. After smelling its contents, he concludes that the smell is quite pleasant and decides to add it to his wine to improve the flavor. After a rash act, the rat suddenly realizes that he has made a mistake. Anxious thoughts flicker through his mind, and he covers his face with his paws in despair. Meanwhile, the young man, finding himself pinned to the floor by the girl, makes an attempt to command. He demands her to back off, using his position as master. The girl suddenly leans closer to the young man, her gaze becoming piercing and determined. It makes him freeze with tension. She continues to shorten the distance between them, ignoring his protests. The young man is shocked as he tries to understand her intentions. The girl finally breaks the boundaries by touching his face with her tongue. Her actions seem unexpected and unpredictable. She kisses him passionately, depriving him of the ability to resist. The young man, shocked by what is happening, blushes, and his gaze becomes confused. Suspended, the young man comes to his senses and cries out in horror at the third degree of infection. He demands that the rat immediately fetch a cleansing spray to remedy the situation. The hero presses the green button, activating the mechanism. The girl under the structure looks puzzled. Realizing her danger, she begins to scream loudly, clinging to the glass surface that surrounds her. The main character, stressed, drinks from 2 bottles at the same time, clearly trying to deal with the tension. Nearby, his fellow rat observes with embarrassment. The hero remembers 2 girls, a golden-haired girl and a mysterious one with purple hair, which evokes strong emotions in him. The rat asks what he is looking for. The hero digs through the documents and finally, happily finds what he is looking for. The document shows a girl with purple hair. It's the same, Experimental 2252. Rat remembers this girl. A year ago she was in a terrible state, almost dead, but she was saved. However, the rat notices that her hair is now golden and her character seems to have changed. Memories of the hero and the rat seamlessly move into the past. A year ago, events unfolded in the White Queen's Bank in the city of Golden. There was something strange in the ventilation shaft. It was a bomb that shows the last seconds, the liquid inside the capsule bubbling. The moment arrives, and it is clear to everyone that something important is about to happen. The timer reaches 0, and the capsule explodes, spewing out smoke and gas. This seems to be the signal for the chaos to begin. The bank's men's room. The surroundings are quiet, and there's even someone singing. 2 men are standing at the urinals with something suspicious in their bags. They are obviously here for a reason, and a conversation ensues between them. One of them remarks that the dragon spider poison should have taken effect by now. His comrade responds with a slight irony, checking the readiness of his weapon. Both of them open their bags, and inside are hidden equipment and substances. The moment of truth arrives. They start the operation. 2 accomplices standing side by side, ready to act. I never thought I'd say this, but I'd like a friend like that rat. A spectacular explosion blows up the bank. People flee in panic. This chaos was clearly planned in advance. Casualties are inevitable. One of the wolfmen calmly eliminates the guard without even looking back. He is cold and focused. The victim is of no importance to him. Turns out, a lot of people just turned into green slime. The hero sarcastically remarks that he looks much cuter in that state. That was the wolf. A panicked woman begs not to kill her and her child, offering everything they have. However, the interlocutor only coldly reminds her that this is her offer, with a touch of cynicism. He snatches the lollipop out of the child's hands, declaring with a satisfied look on his face that the strawberry milk flavor is his favorite, leaving mother and child horrified. A sign appears on the door of the bank that reads, "Bank closed for technical break," and then hands close the massive doors. The weapon's powerful shot pierces the glass object, leaving a glowing hole. Meanwhile, the man concentrates on checking the data on the device. A powerful explosion lights up the whole place, scattering debris. Later, you can see a rain of green banknotes flying all over the room. A young man and rat say to each other with smug smiles, "Take what you want, villain," in front of a backdrop of flying money. A nighttime city backdrop with moon and musical notes shows the scene, creating an atmosphere of calm after chaos. The young man smugly declares that their robbery was perfect, calling himself a brilliant criminal, Iso's alchemist. His partner suggests celebrating their success in a bar, but his enthusiasm is clearly not shared. He rudely cuts his partner off, reminding him of past spending on booze and tips. Now, all the stolen money will be used for experiments to create the ultimate calamity. With a sly smile, he shares his grand plan. Once their project is successful, the city of Golden will be their playground, and the Perseid family name will be on everyone's lips.